Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Before the Four. I'm your host, A.J. Wuest. Hey, it's a new day, and we got some news stories for you all tonight. If you're new to Before the Four, this is basically a live stream where I go on and talk about WAFF's top stories throughout the day before our evening shows. And yeah, it's about that time. It's 3:48. It's Before the Four. And if you're returning to the show, I want to welcome you all back. I am super happy to be with you on this terrific Tuesday. That's what it is today. But let's dive in to some of tonight's stories, shall we? Now, Aria Pons, as you guys know, she is out there in Sheffield today.
2,200 toys to kids this past year.
And she is talking to someone about Toys for Tots in the city of Sheffield. Now, Toys for Tots, they are having to potentially find a new home. The city of Sheffield told the coordinator of Toys for Tots that they can stay until the end of the year. After that, they will need to move. Now, Aria spoke with the Toys for Tots coordinator, and here's a little sneak peek into what he had to say about it. Let me pull that up. You guys know the drill.
2,200 toys to kids this past year. We have 4 different areas here that we do, one for boys, one for girls, and then when we put the bags together for the kids to come pick up, they're down there at the last one.
And that was the Toys for Tots coordinator right there. Make sure you guys stick around for WAFF's evening shows for more on this developing story. In our next story, Matthew King, he will be reporting live from the campus of Alabama A&M University to talk about the university's plans to potentially purchase Birmingham Southern College. Now, as you guys know, it was reported earlier in the year that Birmingham Southern would be ending at the end of this school year come May. Matthew will be talking about AAMU's deal to buy the campus. Now, we reached out to Birmingham Southern yesterday for confirmation into this deal, and BSC Vice President for Advancement and Communication said that Birmingham Southern College is having conversations with several interested parties about the sale of the campus. Now, more from this developing story coming up in just a few minutes from Matthew King. Now, let's head over to Decatur. The city of Decatur held a state of the city just this morning, and it was quite an interesting one, to say the least. But this is where leaders spoke about important information and upcoming projects going on in the city. The only problem with that, though, there was no mayor present at the meeting. Now, Decatur Mayor Tab Bowling announced last night that he would be unable to deliver his prepared speech due to quote-unquote format challenges. Now, find out who spoke at the State of the City tonight in the evening shows. Also, at the top of the show, coming up in just a few minutes, new details have emerged into the tragic shooting of a 4-year-old boy in Huntsville just over the weekend. Now, the family of the young boy who was killed has set up a GoFundMe to help cover the cost of the funeral, and please consider donating if you do feel led so. You can also find the link to the family's GoFundMe on our website story at waff.com, and I will actually pull up the web story for you guys to see this GoFundMe. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. So, you guys, if you head over to our website right here, for you guys who might not be familiar, we'll take that. Let's see. So, if you go into our website, waff.com, you will find these stories right here. And the story, the 4-year-old boy, we're just going to search, because I'm not seeing it right now, 4-year. So right here, the shooting death of a 4-year-old under investigation in Huntsville. You can pull that up, and if you feel led to donate, just click the link right here. It will take you straight to the GoFundMe page. But yes, tragic story there. Wishing the best for the family. Thoughts and prayers, certainly. Also, the next story that's coming up, a murderer and a rapist is up for parole. Now, in other news, a convicted murderer and rapist in Lauderdale County is up for parole. He was first convicted back in 2002. Let's pull that up for you guys. He was convicted in 2002 for first-degree rape and sodomy, and his name is Joseph Lee Burns. He also strangled his cellmate back in 2006 while he was sentenced for that first arrest. And after he strangled his cellmate, he was sentenced for life with the possibility of parole. Now, more on this story coming up in just a few minutes. The next story, a Florence man is awaiting sentencing after he pled guilty to federal child porn charges. That's him right there. Now, court records show that Stephen Kennedy will be sentenced on July 9th. He pled guilty in federal court April 16th. Now, Kennedy had been arrested in 2022 for enticing a minor for the purpose of making child porn. He will remain in jail until his sentencing hearing. Also, this next story right here, I am going to pull this up on the website so you guys can see it, but a man will soon be extradited to Alabama after being arrested across state lines for a shooting that occurred in Jackson County. And this is the story right here for you guys to see on our website. Now, a man arrested in Tennessee. Hey, who's that? Anyway, a man will soon be extradited to Alabama after being arrested across state lines for a shooting in Jackson County. His name was Jonathan Powell, and he was arrested actually in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, by the Lawrenceburg Police Department just last Thursday. Now, however, he will be extradited to Jackson County, Alabama, after he was connected to a shooting that happened there on the same day. Now, once Powell is back in Alabama, he'll be charged with attempted murder and robbery. And authorities say he was also charged with robbery because he stole a different family member's car. So that is one wild story right there. Next story. So they are redistricting, or they're redrawing the voting districts in the city of Athens. Now, if you missed it, the city of Athens, there are plans to redraw these voting districts. Sarah Grace Kennedy, earlier today, she actually put together a video that we are going to watch right about right now. Exciting stuff.
City leaders are relying on 2020 census data to make the changes. District 2 in eastern Athens has experienced the most growth, followed by District 1, which is in the city center and to the east. City Attorney Shane Black says the coming changes will make sure one person's vote doesn't carry more weight than another.
So every few years we've got to go back and look at our districts to make sure that we are meeting that standard, and also to make sure that there's no one that's discriminated against as how they're positioned within these districts.
Athens Mayor Ronnie Marks explained no district can be more than 10% larger than another.
One of the districts in our current map, because of growth, was 27%, so we needed to make adjustments. We've got each of our districts in the proposed map within about 7% of each other. Matter of fact, I think it's 6.8%. So again, we tried to get the boundary lines and representation of each of our citizens by our city council members.
Now, a lot there happening in Athens, and they want to get all this done, I believe Sarah Grace Kennedy said, by August 2025. So looks like they got a lot of work to do there. Tomorrow, you're not going to want to miss it. There is another weather radio programming event going on in Madison. If you guys are unfamiliar with this, basically our weather team is going on an Ace Hardware tour around our area here in North Alabama. They started in Gunnersville, the Ace Hardware out there, A few weeks ago, they were out in Jones Valley, and tomorrow they will be in Madison. Should be some exciting stuff. If you guys do not have a weather radio or have a programmed weather radio, you guys are going to want to come out tomorrow, and you can find me right here tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. and I'll be speaking to one of our awesome meteorologists. But I am going to play a video of me talking to Brad last week at Jones Valley. Brad Travis, if you guys don't know who he is a super awesome guy, and you guys should watch him in our evening shows because he is a phenomenal meteorologist. But here he is right here. All the different types of weather radios that you can get, the Midland being the newest one. Would you happen to remember your first ever weather radio that you got?
I don't work here. Sorry.
Yeah, it was that one back in the 80s, and we've got one in the trash can over here that we threw away earlier. A lot of those. The thing about when you're dealing with electronics, the challenge is you're going to get corroded batteries, and sometimes the chemical reaction can kill the radio. So if you've got a weather radio at home, you can't make it out here today, just make sure the batteries, if they don't work, take them out of your radio. Otherwise, the electrodes, it's going to kill that radio. But yeah, that was pretty much my first one. And again, I was a kid. I was always the one that was responsible for the weather of the house. I was always like the severe weather liaison, so to speak. We had a basement, so I'd like, oh, we're going to get a tornado watch today. And I would make sure all the blankets were in the certain area. And of course, I listened to a lot of radio. I'm from Kansas, so back in Kansas, there was a lot more radio stations with storm chasers or storm spotters, and they had like mobile unit 27 and mobile unit 10 or whatever, but it was just a bunch of the people that work for the radio station out on the road giving you that information. So I think that's where I kind of got that passion. Plus, I had a scanner. I would always listen to the scanner, the storm reports from the EMA. There used to be a lot more of that. Now we're so digital and reliant on our cell phones. It's just a completely different ballgame.
The severe weather liaison, that is a great way to describe the one and only Brad Travis. And hey, take it from him, you are going to want to get a programmed weather radio. Trust him, he knows what he's talking about. Also, I'm a little bit hungry right now, and it did not help that I got to interview a chef earlier today. The 9th annual Alabama Seafood Cook-Off, it's coming up on May 6th at Orange Beach at the wharf there. And one Tennessee Valley chef, he is ready to compete. Today I got to talk to the one and only Kyle Ogden, who is the chef at Odette out in Florence. And he's one of the 4 candidates competing in this year's cook-off. Listen to what he had to say. Where did he go? Oh, there he is right there. He was hiding from me. Can you believe that? Now, Kyle, if you win this cook-off coming up on May 6th, you will not only be $2,500 richer, but you will also go on to compete and represent the state of Alabama in the Great American Seafood Cook-Off. How are you feeling leading up to it all, and what's running through your mind?
I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's a lot of preparation, trying to get the logistics of getting product down there from up here, and just trying to execute once I get down there, and hopefully bring it back to Alabama again for the 2nd year in a row. Brody, the guy who won last year, won the Great American Seafood Cook-Off, so I'd like to do the same.
And you heard it there first. He is trying to run it back. The state of Alabama won the Great American Seafood Cook-Off just last year, so he's trying to run it back. But I believe that is all the time I have for you guys. I wish I could stay longer, but you guys have some evening shows to watch, and I cannot hold you up any longer. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoy WAFF's evening shows. And just like that, I want to thank you for watching. You guys have a great night.